much for clicking on the video. My name is Leah, and let's recap and review Real Housewives of Potomac. This is season 7, episode 13. Some of y'all might not like my opinion, and that's okay. We can have discourse in the comment section, but Karen was deflecting, and I'm not that mad at Mia like I thought I was going to be. But we'll talk about that. So let's get into it. All right, y'all, let's get a little spicy before we get into the review. So all of this spicy corner has to do with Mia. So Mia just needs to delete her Twitter. Just delete it, sis. Because every time Mia posts something, it's either she's getting ate up by the people or she's posting and deleting. And I have two, one that's a post and delete, and the other one I think is still up, but I haven't checked, so like it might be a post and delete. So the first one is coming from Urban Bella. This was a post and delete for Mia. So the artist Christina Milian, she's an artist and an actress. She was one of her songs that I remember the most, that like whenever they say her name that pops in my head, is "Somebody Hit the Lights so we can rock it day and night. People gets down, that's right. From A.M. to P.M. Y'all remember that? I remember that, okay? I remember that. I had to be like in middle school or about to go to middle school or partly about to leave or like still in elementary when that song came out. And we was like, what? We can wreck it. What? Okay. And I remember her being in Bring It On. I remember that because I used to, look, Bring It On used to be a show. Like I've seen almost every Bring It On. And then after when they was doing that cyberbullying, like Bring It On thing, I was like, this corny now. But I mean, it's always been corny, but it was still fun to watch. When it got there, I just couldn't do it no more. But Christina Milian was tweeting her thoughts about Real Housewives of Potomac. I guess she was doing like a binge watch of it, and she posted something on Twitter. Mia quote tweeted, and it's supposed to delete because she didn't like what Christina Milian had to say. And so this is what Christina Milian said. It says, anyway, the girls must have been pretty tipsy, but I didn't like the way they soloed out Wendy. Like, how was she being how she was being treated shouldn't have been swept under the rug. Had to get that off my chest. LOL, back I go to watching the show. So then Mia quote tweets this and she said this: sis, I was tipsy, tired, and spread thin. I really didn't care what dealings they had. For real, as you can see, no one cared past that night. It really wasn't that serious. Literally told Wendy the day I loved her and we needed to get our kids together. It was a weak moment. So posting the lead because some people were just like, girl, liquor made you do it, which I do believe. I think it's a combination of both. Mia's ego was hurt and she was also inebriated, but that's still not an excuse for you to be physical with someone. And then the last one was from the Neighborhood Talk, where she like posted, like she said prayers for Jen Shaw. Where is that? Yeah, she said praying for Jen Shaw. She said at Jen Shaw. And it was a post. Okay, never mind. It was a post and delete because everybody was like on her neck. Like people are like, of course Mia would support a scammer and a liar because she's a liar and might be like when I tell you the people was going in. And here's my thing. I get why people are upset. And I feel like it was like, Mia, you should have picked, like, you shouldn't have said that. But the truth of the matter is like, we're not going to act like there aren't still fans saying that they're praying for Jen Shaw. Like when the sentencing for Jen Shaw, if you don't know, Jen got sentenced to 6.5 years in federal prison and then 5 years of probation or monitored supervision. So it's like fans were still like, when that came out, was like, oh my gosh, like prayers to her family, blah, blah, blah. I feel like at this point, y'all, the lady going to jail, if some people feel sorry for her, some people feel sorry for her. Like, I get tired of people trying to police other people's feelings when it's just like, she did something wrong. Like, no, I'm not saying she shouldn't be in jail. Even I tweeted she should be happy they didn't give her the maximum. And the way people have been saying the witness statements were like gut wrenching. I didn't read any of them because I wasn't that invested like that. But I didn't think it was that serious for everybody to go down Mia's throat. But I also understand like Mia isn't a likable character. So it's like you're associating yourself with someone who is equally not likable, who committed like some grave acts. against elderly people and like took everybody money. And we all about to, we might be going to a possible recession or might be in one now. So I understand, but I just didn't think y'all was gonna get at that lady's neck that hard. But yeah, y'all, let's get into this. All right, y'all. So the episode opens up and we find out that Karen and Ashley are hosting a Mexico trip, mainly for Ashley's 34th birthday, and everybody's invited, Jacqueline and Sharice too. We then see a scene of Giselle in the car calling Robin to tell her how her doctor's visit went, and we find out that Giselle might be having to get a hysterectomy due to having like severe fibroids. And in this moment, I feel like I kind of saw Giselle just a little bit, and my mind kind of like went to this place where I'm like, maybe this is why Giselle rests so much on Pretty, because she hasn't had the ability or the time to be introspective to really figure out who she is as a person. So go with me with this. The reason why I say that is because in this moment when Giselle was in her confessional saying like, I don't get sick, so it's a little uncomfortable to me. I'm always taking care of everybody else, everyone else around me gets sick, and I take care of them. In my mind, I'm like, if you're always taking care of everybody else, do you never really have time for yourself? And then my mind went to like, this is probably why Giselle is like that stoic princess or that stoic queen or the ice queen that people like to coin her, and why Giselle is like an asshole. And I feel like it's because I feel like Giselle has probably always been the like person, especially when she got with Jamal, to like make sure everything is okay. Like when you're the first lady, and I see a lot of first ladies getting away from this because it's not healthy, where it's like you have to be happy, you have to be pulled up together, you always have to be there Sunday morning sitting on that front pew, going up for your husband, or vice versa. If it's a lady, like the pastor of the church is a woman and her husband's a man, like if you're the first anything, you have to be there for that spouse, even when you're mad at them, even if you don't want to, you have to pull it together. And I feel like Giselle probably was that way. Like she felt like she had to be smiling, she has to always be that, be pretty, be that, because behind her it's nothing but embarrassment, chaos, and destruction, because you're tied to a man who doesn't respect you enough to not cheat on you, but to not cheat on you and get women pregnant in his congregation. So everybody talking about it, everyone's judging you, but all the while you have to act very strong and very together for your three daughters, because you don't want them to see you falter, or you don't want them to see you crumble, because you want to be this perfect perception of like what a strong Christian Black woman is supposed to be in the face of adversity. And when Giselle said the thing about like, I take care of everybody else, I was like, I see it. At times we see Giselle being like sweet and kind, but it's only towards her daughters, or it's only towards select few of people. And I think for Giselle, it's like she only gives that energy to certain people. She doesn't let us see it, because there's been so many times where we've had moments where Giselle could be vulnerable or show those types of emotions, and she cut it off quick. Just there's a meme of Giselle when she was with Kyle, I think that's her hairdresser's name, where Giselle was about to break down. She gets up, she goes to the wall, and she's trying to collect herself while he trying to like color her hair. We then have a moment where like this episode where Giselle, well, not this episode, but like the beginning of the season, where they were talking about her daughters going off to college and the other two becoming like growing up and being 16, and she almost broke down in the confessional and she cut it off real quick. So it's like, I think Giselle has built up a persona where it's just like, yes, this is who I'm supposed to be, this is what the people want, this is who I'm gonna be. And I think that's just where my mind went, that it's like she probably doesn't really know, like she knows, I think Giselle knows surface Giselle, but maybe not like deep down Giselle in a sense. And I'm not no, like, I can look at me trying to psychoanalyze somebody, but I just like in that moment I was just like, maybe that's why the whole Pretty, like she's always referencing her eyes, or like, for the past several seasons it was like I'm the word on the street, because it's like Pretty is easy for Giselle to pick up. It's right there. That face card doesn't decline. Like, are you gonna, and it's like you got to think about it, like, am I going to be introspective, or am I just gonna rest on what gives me the most praise, which is me being pretty and me being that, like, and everyone wanting to be around me because I'm pretty? I don't know. I was just rambling, but I hope that made sense, because that's where my mind went. But then as the car ride continued, we see Robin not Robin. They started talking about Sharice and Karen, and we found out that Karen did blatantly not invite Sharice, mainly because when they looked at the texting list, Karen had Jacqueline and Katie Ross on there, so it's like you purposely didn't invite her, which she had the right to do. They then were like, well, that's probably why Sharice dropped that video of Karen and Mia rubbing Barbie titties together. And that on that. We find out that Giselle wants to get to the bottom of why Sharice and Karen got beef, mainly because she nosy, but the other part is like she wants the three of them to get back together because she was like, when they used to all hang out, it used to be a good time, and she wants that back. We then see a scene of Robin with her sons and Juan. And they're talking about getting married. We find out it's just going to be the four of them. The boys ask, how do you think our grandparents is going to feel about that? And Robin said, they probably not going to be too happy, but I just want the wedding to be the four of us. They then were like, where should we get married? Robin gonna say the Chesapeake Bay. The other little boy said Jamaica. And I was so happy because I think it was the youngest one that said eel. And I said, thank you, Carter. I think that's his name. Because what the hell, Robin? I still have not forgiven the Boys and Girls Club. I think it was Boys and Girls Club of Norfolk. Was it Norfolk? No. Either one. Either way, I've lived in Southern and Northern Virginia. I can't remember. But either way, they took us to the Chesapeake Bay and told us that it was the beach. And you talking about you had me in that dank, murky brown water that was darker than me, swimming around, thinking it was the beach. Had us in that dirty water. Had us in that dirty, dirty water. And I was like, Robin, if you get married near the Chesapeake Bay, you should not get married at all. Because no. And when that little boy said ill, I say it louder. Because, girl, no. You might as well just go to the Justice of Peace than rather have a wedding if you're going to get married at the Chesapeake Bay. Ugh. We then see like a guy come who was Taylor. His name is Brian LaFord. Either way, he has a business where he suits people. Like he makes custom suits. His suit was actually really nice, and the outfit that they put on Juan actually looked good. We then have a scene of Mia and G. They're at the house. Mia acting like she doing work, writing all these sticky notes, and I'm like, Mia, you have a Mac. A Mac has a built-in planner. You have an iPhone. It can go to both. Or you could just get an actual stationary planner. But these sticky notes, they're not doing it. I was like, Mia, this is bothering me. You're just wasting good sticky notes. But while she's sitting there, G pissed me off. Well, not even pissed me. He just aggravated me because Mia told him, like, while I'm going, I'm going to need you to go get cupcakes or sign up to get cupcakes for, I guess, their youngest son's class. And G was like, oh, okay, I'll do that. And she was like, I also want you to attend the event. And he was like, well, I could sit in the car. And then she's like, no, I want you to participate. And that is so weird to me. And mainly it's because my dad wasn't like that. Whenever me and my sibling had events, like legit, like my dad was showing up for us. Like he was in there. He was bringing the cupcakes. He was sitting with us. He was getting to know our teacher. He was getting to know like the other parents there. So it's like it's weird to me when women are like, I'm a single mother, but I'm married. Because I haven't seen that. Even guy friends that I have that are like, they have baby mamas or they are married, they are very much play active roles in their kids' lives. And they look like me. And I'm just like, what is wrong with y'all? Like, and then, I mean, like, I know, like, they might be, like, the outliers or whatever, but I'm just, like, that is, like, it just bothers me when I see it. Like, the way I just was, like, that makes no sense to me, and it wouldn't happen in my household. I'm just let you know that now. Because I will pack up real quick and just be out here by myself, living my best life without you, okay? And find somebody who will help. But it's just me. In this moment, Mia talks about how Jacqueline been getting on her nerves. We find out that Jacqueline's sister is Mia's nanny. And Jacqueline, I guess, supposedly didn't find a nanny or somebody to take care of her kids while they go to Mexico. And in this moment, I get that people are like upset with Mia, but I'm like, Jacqueline also lends to the narrative that she doesn't know what she's doing and that she constantly needs help. Because for one thing, why did you not plan for this? I'm pretty sure they told you well in advance that y'all were going to Mexico for a trip, as well as the time you forgot toiletries, when I'm like, that's the bare minimum for you to bring. Like, that is what you always pack first. I guess for me, that's what I pack first. And it's just like the whole car situation. It's just like Jacqueline has lended to the narrative that like she's always needs someone to take care of her. And it seems like she normally does this, like she waits till the last minute for stuff and then Mia jumps in. Mia also said that, like she's immensely grateful for Jacqueline and her mom for taking her in, but she always feels like she's like helping Jacqueline out of like wanting to, like, I guess, pay tribute or be show her gratitude for them taking her in, but she's getting to the point where she's tired. Make it to Pretty Mexico, and we find out that the groups were split up. You had Wendy, Ashley, and Karen on like I was about to say a bus, on a flight before the ladies, and they got there sooner. And then you have everybody else riding on the plane. They show us the plane arrangements, or like the seating arrangement. I don't know how true they were, but they were like, it was Mia, Charisse, Jacqueline together, and then Candace, Giselle, and Robin. And first of all, I was like, what does Jacqueline have on? Because I didn't understand why Jacqueline had on heels at the airport, sis. Going to Mexico is like a 3-hour flight. Like, if you don't be like, because everybody else had on like, track suits, like lounge wear. She had on a on a bodycon skirt, with a shush, her like it was like a nice little long like white shirt, long sleeve shirt, but it had a cut in the front, and then she had on heels. And I said, girl, I know you was cold because the plane is always cold. I said, I didn't see no blanket she had, I didn't see no neck pillow. I was like, Jacqueline, are we not a common traveler? It just threw me off, because I'm the only time I've seen people like wear heels and stuff to like the airport is if they're taking like a 30-minute flight to somewhere, and it's normally like in one of those really small jets, because where they're going to is like a hop and a skip. So I was just kind of like, girl, it's a 3-hour flight. I would know because I just came back from Mexico. So I was just kind of like, you not cold? I don't know. So when they land in Mexico, you could tell the vibe is kind of off. And basically, Mia and Jacqueline got into it. I guess Jacqueline's sister called me, or like texted or emailed Mia saying that she couldn't find Ann and Lucas. No, Ava and Lucas, which are not Mia's kids, but Jacqueline's kids. And I guess Mia was like, girl, like, why are you messaging me? Message your sister. So it seems like the kids are at Mia's home. And Mia, I guess, started to say, like, Jacqueline, you, like, girl, get control of your household. That pissed off Jacqueline. Jacqueline said something about it takes a village to raise your kids, and you wouldn't know nothing about that. So that hit Mia in her chest, because it's like, well, of course, I didn't have a village because I'm a product of the foster care system. So why would you say that? So they start going back and forth. It got real heated. We then go to the resort, and the resort was actually really lovely. Ashley getting everybody vibrators with like special gifts in them. They gave Robin a veil. They gave a Giselle a flashlight, and everybody else gag gifts except Charisse, because Ashley forgot about the Charisse. Karen made a joke like, thank God, because like she don't like Charisse. So they get on the bus. And my thing with this was like the way Candace started to get on my nerves, because Candace kept trying to like see if Jacqueline was okay. And I'm like, I get it, y'all just have this budding friendship. But at this point, girl, just sit there and just take in the drama. Like, y'all have just newly started to get cool with each other. So it's just kind of like, I get you wanting, like, you showing concern, but it's just kind of like you kind of being overbearing. Like, that's their friendship. You sit in your seat and watch the show commence. So they're on the bus. Candace started asking about, does any of the ladies look at their, they vaginas? Which, excuse me, I feel like you should always examine your own body. Because anytime you see something go left, I feel like, take yourself to the hospital or the doctor. So finally get to the resort. We see Wendy, Karen, and Ashley like in the lobby area with maracas and like welcoming the ladies. And then we see this display from Giselle where she picks Ashley up and like swings her around like birthday girl. And I was like, they really do care about Ashley. Because sometimes I be feeling like, I don't know. But I was like, I feel like they really do care about Ashley because even Karen, when they showed Ashley the big surprise where they had like a cute little area full of food and drinks, singing happy birthday to her, Karen squeezed on Ashley. So it's like they really do like Ashley. Like the OGs really do like see it for each other a little bit, maybe a lot. So they go into the room. The food look good. Them drinks look good. And they go like everyone's sitting down. Mia makes a statement where she's like, I don't want to sit over there. I don't want to sit near Satan, saying about Jacqueline. So then Karen is like, what's going on? Like out of the Wendy, Karen, and Ashley are like, what's up? Because they weren't on the plane, so they don't know what's going on. They start going back and forth where they're explaining like what happened, and Mia's like, we fight like sisters. And Candace interjects, and so does Wendy, like, yeah, that's how it is with your sister. You go back and forth at times, but you still love each other. And Jacqueline then says, this is the worst fight we ever had. And then Mia chimes in. She was like, it's not the worst fight we ever had. You tried to hit me in the head with a brick. And she ends up telling us a story where Jacqueline and Mia were like 11, like not 11, but we're like in the 11th grade. Mia wouldn't let Jacqueline like go over her homework or look at her homework. And then Jacqueline tried to hit her upside the head with a brick. I was like, why were y'all still friends after that? Girl, that's attempted murder. Like, what are we doing? Because in 11th grade, I think you're like maybe 17 on the cusp about to turn 18. Because ninth grade is like you're 14 going to 15, 16, 17, 18. Yeah, girl. At 17 years old, Leah's brain would have been like, oh, we don't need to be friends if you was going to hit me up beside the head with a brick for homework that you should have did yourself. Just because I don't want you to look at it. So they start going back and forth. And, they're like, oh, it'll get better. It'll get better. Then they start throwing shots. And this is why I say I don't feel that bad for Jacqueline after Mia said something, because Jacqueline was trying to sun Mia in front of the group. Mia took it too far, but Jacqueline was trying to sun Mia in front of the group because she was like, this is how Mia gets. She gets controlling when things don't go the right way. And then Karen jumps in and Karen was like, oh, she turns on you. And then Mia's like, no, I keep it 100. And then Jacqueline kind of like made a face like, yes, she does. So then Mia gets mad and she's like, girl, you feeling yourself a little too much. You need to pipe down. And then Jacqueline's like, am I, Mia? Am I? And Jacqueline and Mia's like, don't go there with me. Like you don't want to go there. I don't want to go there with you. So they're going back and forth. And then she was like, then that's when Mia says, oh no. Then Jacqueline says she needs some more dick in her life. And then you see Candace like, ooh. And then you see Giselle even being like, ooh. So then, and that's when Mia's like, okay, you chill out. And if you want me to go there, I'll go there. That's why I don't feel bad for Jacqueline, because you brought up the whole, like, her needing some OD in her life. And then you didn't expect her to come back at you when you said Mia turned, like, you agreed with Karen when Karen said Mia turns on people. So if you've known your friend for 30 years, as you said, then you probably would have known not to come at her that way. And y'all wouldn't have had this moment. So, because then Mia says, well, close your legs to married men. So then everybody is slapped. And then you see Wendy like, ooh, good God. So then Jacqueline immediately gets upset, stands up. She was like, we're not friends no more. I'm done with you. You sold your soul to the devil. And I said, ah. And then Mia's like, and I'm like, girl. So then this is where I feel like Jacqueline kind of told on herself, because she said, close your legs to married men. And then Mia was like, that's what you like to do. Then Jacqueline said, I never slept with your husband. Then you hear Sharice being like, she didn't say you slept with her husband. I said, call it out, Sharice, because I was like, she didn't say that, Jack. I said, Jacqueline, you want to tell us something? You've been eyeing Gordon. You and Gordon did some things. Because I'm like, in that moment, Jacqueline told on herself to me because I'm like, she never says you slept with her husband. She said that's what you like to do. Then you saying, I never slept with your husband. I said, girl, she did. When Sharice said, she didn't say that. I said she did. She did. So you got Wendy trying to console Jacqueline because Jacqueline is like in tears. And Candace gets up to Mia telling Mia, like, girl, go take your friend outside and talk to her. And Mia's like, no, she don't want to talk to me. I don't want to talk to her. And I'm like, oh, shenanigans, shenanigans, shenanery, shenanigans and shenanery. Because I was like, ah. So then there's some more stuff they're gonna go to the shaman. So then Giselle's like, okay, we're gonna table this right here, but we're gonna go to the shaman. And so they go to the shaman. The shaman is supposed to be cleansing everybody's negative energy. While this is going on, Jacqueline is like breaking down. Candace is go over there consoling her. And like I said, I don't have a problem with Candace like doing it, but it became a point where it's like, sis, she's not your friend. So you don't have to constantly go and check on her. I mean, I understand if you feel compelled to do that, but like the first time I said, are you okay? And you tell me you all right, and I know you're not okay, I'll just be like, I'll be like, I'll check on you. I will check on you after, you collect yourself. Because I'm not going to constantly be like, you all right? You all right? Are you okay? Are you? No, if you tell me I'm fine, I'm be like, all right, I know you're not fine. I give you about a good, 2 or 3 hours, then you all right? But she kept checking on her. So I was like, Candace, leave her alone. Leave her alone. So they get ready for the night. While the whole shaman thing was happening, Candace kept telling Mia to go hug Jacqueline, but Jacqueline was like, no. And I didn't fault Jacqueline for being like, girl, don't touch me. You just aired me out. And I'm like, I get it. And then Mia's like, all right, bet, cool, whatever. All right, y'all. So I'm gonna get the miscellaneous stuff out the way, and then we're gonna talk about what we really want to talk about. So then Robin's tape-ins being shown throughout this episode and that veil flying away. Girl, production is disrespectful putting that camera right there. And no one cares about that veil flying away. Ashley and her whole Michael special moment situation, do not care. She's not dating that dude from Summer House anymore. Ashley did Watch What Happens Live, and she pretty much said that they're not, like, the relationship fizzles out, but they're like friends or something like that. But she never leaving Michael. And then Giselle and this man Steven that she known for 32 years, and them talking, and she want a man to make her laugh, whatever. So they all sit down to have dinner. This whole argument between Karen and Sharice popped off because of Giselle, like it always does. Giselle is pretty much like, what's the issue between y'all? She was like, I told you, Karen, that Sharice felt some type of way about not being invited to your event, so she posted that video. Sharice was like, nah, that's not the case. I posted the video, probably that, but also because I thought it was funny. So then they go back and forth, and Karen's like, I don't have time, like, I'm gonna set you straight, Sharice, and blah, blah, blah. So then Sharice basically says, like, sis, what's your issue with me? Like, you've had an issue with me, but I'm hearing everybody else around me. No, you have an issue with me, but you kind of be, like, smiling in my face and you good. But then when everybody else, like, you're telling everybody else that I bring negative energy to the group and I'm a negative cloud. So then Karen's like, this is not your way into the group. Basically saying beefing with me is not your way into the group. And my thing is like, what do you mean by that, Karen? Because outside of the show, Sharice has always been around, even with the show. Like in season 4, when Sharice was no longer a part of the show, Sharice was still popping up at events. She just wasn't being filmed. And then if you see the ladies outside of the show when they hang out, Sharice is still there. Sharice is still actively a participant in the friend group outside of the show. So for Karen to be like, this is not your way into the group, I'm like, what do you mean by that? Are you saying the TV show, or are you saying the actual, like, group? Like, are you saying the group outside of the show? So they started having the discussion back and forth. Some of the topic of, like, Karen says, we haven't spoken in 5 years and a lot has changed. And then she was like, you never once, like, reached out to me and da-da-da-da. And, like, Karen was pretty much saying, like, you've been begging for my friendship. And Sharice was like, I haven't been begging for nothing from you. I said, ooh. And Sharice pretty much is like, girl, in 5 years, I went through a divorce and you never reached out. Then Karen's like, in those 5 years, my mom died. And then Sharice said, and my dad did too. And I was like, I know y'all don't like Sharice, but I was that your dead mom is not gonna trump my dead daddy. Dead parent to dead parent, girl, we both lost pivotal people in our lives. So like I understand your anguish and pain, but you're not gonna try to one up me with that. And that's when I was like getting annoyed with Karen because I'm like, okay, your mom passed away. I'm sorry that happened. I am sorry. Like when all that stuff happened to Karen during that season, I felt horrible for her. But we're not gonna act like everybody else around her wasn't dealing with turmoil too. So in that moment, I was like, oh, Karen's about to start deflecting because that's what Karen does. If she's not really ready, she's gonna deflect. As well as Karen has been dragging Sharice in the confessionals every chance that she has gotten. And it's like now that you're being confronted, we got to revert to like funerals and people's parents dying for you to have a moment. And I was getting annoyed because it's like I'm getting ahead of myself. So they're going back and forth, and then Karen's like, well, Sharice, what did I do for you? And Sharice is like, you texted me. And she's like, yeah, because that's all I could give to you. And then Sharice is like, but I drove to your funeral, to your mom's funeral. And then Giselle's like, yeah, she really did. And then she's like, and then Karen's like, I'm not talking to you. And I said, well, I said, Giselle, stay out of it. And in this moment, I'm like, well, Karen, if you're going to try to act like because you texted me that meant something, then I'm a one-up you and say, well, I drove my ass to the funeral when I didn't have to. Now, granted, neither one of them had to show up for anybody's funeral, but Karen trying to act like she's about to trump somebody when I'm like, sis, I drove an hour or a couple of hours to be there for you or to show my respect to your parents, because it seems like Sharice and Karen did have a solid relationship before all of this. Then it's like you could have reciprocated that, or you could have sent a bouquet of flowers or like a food, because that's what you do to show your respects to people. You just send in a text, which I don't even think it was probably like a heartfelt text, because it's Karen. And if it ain't got nothing to do with Karen, Karen likely don't really care that much. So they're going back and forth. And next thing you know, Karen's like, this is not your way into the group, Sharice. Don't be disrespecting my mom. And Sharice is looking confused. I'm looking confused because I'm like, she didn't say anything about your mom. She just said that she drove to your mother's funeral. And then Karen's like, you're not going to disrespect my mom. And then Sharice is like, I didn't disrespect your mom. So that's when Karen pops up and was like, what you will not do is disrespect my mother. And that's when Sharice stood up and said, and I was like, oh, the aunties are fighting. The aunties are fighting. You could tell everybody was not expecting Karen to jump up or Sharice to smack their table and be like, man, F you. And them going back and forth. Because my thing about it was Karen was deflecting. You were deflecting. You got all this smoke for Sharice in the confessionals, but when you have time to really say why you don't like the lady and why you don't see it for her, you can't. You try to be like she was talking ill of your mother. All she said is she drove to the funeral. After you tried to say that sending your condolences was like basically the equivalent. And you got everybody shocked. You got Ashley's eyes bugging. Candace trying to hold Karen's hand like, no, girl, no. Like, sit down. And then it cuts off that way. It cuts off right there. But yeah, y'all, that is it. That is all. Remember to be bravely authentic and hop down in them comments below. Deuces.